You know, I didn't really think that this franchise could get any weirder than Jennifer Tilly becoming a killer murder doll, but life finds a way. Hey everyone, it's me Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is the 31 Days of Thorgiween, in which every single day we are putting out spooky, scary videos. And this week is viewer request week, in which we are talking about the films that you wanted us to review and discuss. And I had so many people asking me to review the entire Child's Play franchise. Like, I had about 4 people specifically say, talk about all the Chucky films. Like, not even like picking one, just saying talk about all of them. I was like, I think you guys are taking advantage of my generous offer on this.
Maybe you should just be like one movie per request.
That's the thing. After looking at all your requests, which by the way, thank you all for making requests, but after looking at them, I was like, I really should have specified one movie. You all get to pick one. Because I had like people submitting like a list of like 10 to 20 movies to me. I was like, dude, you just requested the entire month. Like, I'm trying to put up here below us whenever I do requests, like the person who made the request. It's kind of hard to do that when it goes, here's the request that the person made, and then just a like Star Wars scroll starts coming up. Like, here's all they want me to talk about. But there were people who requested, it wasn't just Child's Play. People who requested like all kinds of franchises. Like, people said the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, the Friday the 13th one, the Saw franchise, which that ain't happening. But Child's Play was one, I expected those other ones. I was not expecting Child's Play to have the like fan base that it did. I didn't expect so many people to enjoy this film that they wanted me to discuss all of them. But sure enough, however, one person out there, Cosmic Reader, specifically requested the newest Chucky film. So there you go. I'm picking one of them, and this is the guy who made one request and was for that one movie. So that's what we're doing. And the newest one is Cult of Chucky. And this was a weird one.
Yes, it was.
Which we'll go ahead and, just to satisfy all of you out there who want us to talk about the Child's Play franchise, we'll start by talking a little bit about like our history with this franchise. I saw the first 3 and they creeped me the fudge out because I saw them when I was a kid. I saw them before I realized horror films could be fun, and it was back when I had a friend who he had already realized horror films are fun, and I was still spooky scared by them. And he showed me the Child's Play films, and I was like, no, I don't want any part of this. Like, yeah, Chucky scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. He was like the #1 monster when I was a kid. And I remember the third one, which a lot of people say is the worst of the first 3, but the first one is the one that scared me the most, because I remember it ends with him, like, with Chucky, like, about to take this kid's soul, while he's at the top of like this giant demonic looking pyramid thing. I was like, dear God, what kind of powers does he have? Which I don't even think that was his creation. I think that was like a thing that was already built that they went to. My memory's a little bit fuzzy on it, but yeah, I just remember like that scene like messing me up as a kid. And then later on, I went and I watched Bride of Chucky, and I was like, were they always this stupid? Because it's one of those things where I watched that after I kind of like realized like, okay, I'm kind of enjoying horror films, I'm kind of getting into them. So I was like, you know what, let me give Child's Play another shot. I'm gonna watch this newest one, Bride of Chucky. And it was like, what? Were they all like this? But like, I've heard other people since then like talk about it and go, no, this came out after like Scream came out, and they were like, okay, well, we gotta be clever and meta and funny with these movies now. We can't just be scary. So that's what they try to do with Bride of Chucky. So that's why it didn't really scare me. I was like, all right, I'm pretty much good on these now. And then Seed of Chucky came out, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I don't need to watch Jennifer Tilly doll give birth to Chucky baby. I don't need that. So we went into this one. And
so, wait, I didn't tell my Chucky story.
Oh, I didn't know you had seen these. Yeah, go ahead.
Like the thing is, I never saw any of the Child's Play because, well, even though the thing is, I was pretty rational as a little kid. I was like, okay, movies aren't real. The monsters in it are not real. They're not gonna come and get me. So I was kind of like that when I saw the Chucky trailer. I was like, oh, this is just a movie. But then after the Chucky trailer, I saw a commercial for Teddy Ruxpin. And then I was like, oh shit, toys actually can come to life and try and kill me.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
So yeah. So that's why I was
Tiny baby Michelle just taking out Tay Ruxpin's.
I actually did have a dream that I like fought Chucky and I threw him into the TV and and he turned into Steve Urkel and the Family Matters started playing.
Okay, I don't know where that last part comes from, but I had a dream too, like fighting Chucky. Like I think most kids like probably had some kind of a dream about Chucky at some point in time. Because like yeah, he was a slasher designed specifically to freak out kids. I mean like
yes.
A, it's a child's toy.
Yeah.
And B, it's one of the few slasher films where a child is the star. Like, that's the thing he's trying to get. Like, he kills adults in there, but the child is the one he's after.
And I think that's the reason why Chucky, like, stands out in our memories so vividly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't see Seed of Chucky, and then I started watching this one, and it opens up with this kid, with this grown-ass adult. He's talking on a date, and he's like, yeah, well, I own a couple guns, but I'm not like a fanatic about guns. And he's like, well, you know, that kind of weirds me out. So like, she decides to leave the date, and he drives back home, and then he goes up to a safe, punches in the code, opens it up, and there's Chucky's head inside, like nailed to a 2x4 with like nails and chains wrapped around his head, and like half his head is like dissolved and like chopped into, and still talking to him. And then you realize this is the kid from the original trilogy. And I actually had to look it up. It's the same actor. Like, he's been around this whole time, and apparently he now just does horror films, like, but he does like low-grade horror films. So like, this is the thing that he does now. Like, he is taking that ball and run with it. So good for him. I always admire an actor who's like, this is what I am, I will gladly do that. So yeah, good for you. But yeah, so basically he's just spent all this time, like, he finally was able to take out Chucky, and he just decapitated him because it was like, nope, I gotta keep an eye on you because every time that we kill you, you come back, which is kind of a smart move on his part. So he's kept him decapitated in a safe, and now he talks to him, and they have almost like a, not friendship, but like a weird understanding with each other. Cause like he starts smoking a cigarette and Chucky's like, let me get a hit off that. And he like lets him have it.
You think like a Stockholm Syndrome or?
No, I think it's more just like, well, we've been fighting this for so long. I mean, think about it. He's got a longer connection with Chucky than anyone else he's had in his entire life.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you can't be like, you're basically chained to this guy. He's destined to be around you at all times. Might as well just be like, yeah, fuck it. Just like, but I mean, like, it's not like they're friends. It's more just like, this is the deal. But then after Chucky snaps at him, he grabs a blowtorch and just starts taking it to his face. So it's like, this is what he does every single night. He comes home and tortures Chucky a little bit more. So in a weird way, it's kind of like he snapped and got insane. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I'd do the same.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? So yeah, it's one of those where it's like, I can totally understand what has become of this guy. Like, if you've had a doll torture you for like 30 years of your life, yeah, this is what would become of you. Like, this is the most, he's trying to go out there on dates, he's trying to meet women. This is the most stable this guy could possibly be. He's trying to be a normal guy. Cause yeah, it's like, I wanna come in here and be like, well, why doesn't he just do this with Chucky? Why doesn't he just like set it on fire? It's like, they've melted this guy and he came back. If you set him on fire, his ghost might go into a new doll. And I was like, well, what if you just took that safe and dropped it into the ocean? It's like, yeah, but you know how many times the killer gets out of your sight and then it finds a way to come back? Like, Chucky could eventually just wait years for like the safe like security system in there to like short circuit from the water and like headbutt his way out and just claw his way out with teeth. It's like, yeah, man, in all honesty, based on serial killer rules and based on horror monster rules, having it in a place where you can constantly keep an eye on is actually probably the smartest thing you can do. So I was actually kind of impressed with this film right off the bat. I was like, this is an interesting setup. And I kind of dig that after all these years, that kid from the first one has got his stuff together and knows how to deal with this puppet in the best way possible. But then it cuts to a mental asylum.
Yeah.
And I'll say the cinematography in here is kind of interesting. I mean, it's pretty damn good because it wanted to be sterile.
Right.
Because mental institution is supposed to be sterile. So everybody wears nothing but white. Everything is white in the institution. It's snowing outside, so even the outside is nothing but white. It's kind of an interesting approach. I was like, okay, they're being kind of artsy with this. That's not bad. But it stars this girl who it's very clear she has a history with Chucky, and I had no idea who it was, so I had to look it up. There was a 6th Chucky film that I never even knew about called Curse of Chucky that came out in between this one and Seed of Chucky, and she's the protagonist of that. So at this point, I started to lose this film a little bit because I was like, oh, I had a connection to that kid, to that guy. I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, you got tortured by Chucky, whatever. But whenever they make reference to like what Chucky did, I was like, I don't get that. I have no connection with that part. But okay, I was able to follow it. I was able to go along with it. And the doctor who is giving them all therapy in this group, he brings out a Chucky doll, like a My Buddy doll or whatever they're called. Yeah. He brings one of them out.
Good Guy doll.
Good Guy doll, that's it, thank you.
Yeah, which we're making fun of the My Buddy dolls. So.
Yes, I was about to say, it's like, I know it's not My Buddy because My Buddy was a real thing. The Good Guy dolls. He brings one of them out and he says, hi, I'm Chucky. And it's like, oh my God, it's real, it's a natural thing. And then he's like, they had 50 different names. There was a 2% chance of it having the name Chucky. I specifically searched one out that was named Chucky, so that way it could help you all with your rehabilitation. I was like, okay. And I kind of dig that. They go, well, where did you get it? And he goes, Hot Topic. And I went, that's actually kind of clever, because now the only place you can buy like Child's Play merchandise is Hot Topic. So I was actually kind of like, okay, that might be like a product placement thing, like turn to the audience and be like, go and get your go and get your Good Guy doll over at Hot Topic now. But I didn't see it that way. I saw it more as like commentary on like, yeah, we know what the Child's Play franchise has become. We know that it's now a Hot Topic thing. So it was like, I kind of dug that. But then he gives the doll to the mental asylum people, and this woman picks him up and starts holding him and goes, it's my baby, my baby. And it's like, she just starts treating this doll like it's her actual child. And I didn't care for that at all. Because this is the thing about saying a horror film in a mental asylum. When no one in there can really react to the terrifying stuff in the appropriate manner, it makes you, the audience, kind of lose any sense of tension. And you've got the main girl in there, the one from the previous film, and she's reacting to this appropriately, like, nah, something's messed up. So I was like, okay, that's all right. But then you've got a guy in there who has multiple personalities, and you got this girl who thinks that the Chucky doll is her baby, and she's like trying to feed it. And then you've got another woman who, I don't know what was wrong with her, but she was just naysaying, like, no, this is bullcrap, I'm not doing any of this. I was like, I don't know what her whole deal was.
Like, I first thought, like, she was, like, a nurse or something, because, like, she said she had to, like, take care of the old lady with the, who...
Oh, yeah, there's a lady who thinks that she's a ghost.
Yeah, and it's like, so I thought she was just, like, you know, was the nurse who was, like, tired of everyone's bullshit, and that's why she's all pissy and stuff, but...
Yeah, but then there's a moment later on where it's like, no, they're not treating her like a nurse, they're treating her like a patient. But yeah, so it was kind of like, all right, I'm not really getting attachment to these people, and the woman treating her like, treating Chucky like her child, it's just kind of uncomfortable. It's not scary, it's just unpleasant. So there's that part going on. But then the Chucky doll comes to life, and it made me realize, all right, I kind of got hope in this movie again. Because the moment where he's walking down the hall holding a knife, and then the schizophrenic lady who thinks she's a ghost walks down the hall and starts talking to the Chucky doll, and goes, hold on, I'm a 2-foot tall, walking, talking doll holding a knife. How are you not freaking out at this? And he goes, I'm schizophrenic. I see tons of things that I know aren't real. I know you're not real. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. It's like, you know what? Putting Chucky in a mental institution actually has a lot of possibilities to it. There's a lot you can do with that. And then that's pretty much gone almost immediately. Like, he then kills her. I was like, oh, that could have been a cool thing. That could have gone on.
I think what like annoyed me the most was like how easily it was to like lose track of like the patients and like I understand like she got transferred from a maximum security asylum to a medium security asylum, but it's like even a medium one should have like locks and cameras somewhere. So
the mental institution in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest has more security than this place did. And those guys broke out and went on vacations every now and again.
Yeah, because like Chucky just like grabbed a knife out of a drawer that was labeled sharps, and it was at the front desk, I think, and it wasn't even locked. It's like, why would you have a unlocked drawer full of sharp objects at the front desk?
I can understand having a drawer full of sharp objects because like they have to confiscate it from the people, so they keep them all in the same place.
Right, but why is it not locked?
Yes. Keep a lock on it. There are tons of problems in this film from this point on just like that.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, this is a mental institution where people can attack each other like constantly, so you would have security cameras everywhere. How is it that when one person pops up dead, you wouldn't check the security footage? Oh my god, you could have resolved this thing immediately if you just checked the damn cameras.
Well, they specifically said that there are no cameras in the bedroom, but they didn't say...
The halls!
Yeah!
Going up to the bedroom! Yeah, exactly. It's like, Chucky didn't like go through the vents, he walked through the halls.
La, 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 la.
Yeah, man, there are problems like that all over the place. So the rest of this film is then just Chucky one by one kind of taking these people out, but it's revealed he learned, and it's explained like off camera. Like there was a moment where he goes, yeah, I went on voodoo.com and found this out, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's like...
a pass, I'll give it to you, whatever.
I mean, that's like an excuse you'd find on the Fairly Odd Parents. Like, hey, where did you get this? Internet?
But yeah, it's... I kind of give it a pass because like the whole voodoo aspect, like it always got me. It was like, how did this random serial killer know voodoo curses that could allow him to transfer his soul into a puppet?
I don't know. I always thought he was like obsessed with like cultists and like the dark arts and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like whenever it came to the voodoo stuff, I always was like, just all right, fine. We just need an excuse for this to happen. Whatever. But this one really kind of pushed it. But he now has the ability to duplicate his soul, so he can now transfer his soul into anything with an arm and a leg.
So he's basically like Voldemort with the Horcruxes.
Yeah, kind of. Because then a second Chucky doll pops up in here, and he transferred it into him, so now there's two Chuckies walking around. And both of them are murdering people. But then there's like another plot that like, man, I'll admit, I got up and went and make myself a sandwich at one point, but you watched all this, and I had to ask you, and you said, no, it's never explained. The guy with the split personalities, turns out he's also been possessed by Chucky, and like one of his personalities is Chucky.
No, like one of his personalities' names is Charles.
Which was the original killer's name.
Yeah, but he never said, call me Chucky.
Okay.
So...
Well, yeah, at the end when Chucky kills him, he's like, you were just an imitation. So okay, that's a weird thing that Chucky just happens to attack a mental institution where there's a guy with split personalities, and one of his split personalities thinks he's the original killer. Again, that could have been the entire film. Like, here's the thing. The original kid having to deal with like having this disembodied head and seeing like Chucky is killing somewhere else and trying to figure out how he's doing it, that's a film. The woman from the previous film is in a mental institution, but Chucky has come to the mental institution. That's a film. Chucky having to deal with an imitation copycat serial killer who's imitating the original guy that he was. That's a film. Cramming them all together just makes this kind of a jumbled mess. And again, I was digging this in the beginning. I was like, okay, there's potential in this. And man, it just keeps adding new stuff in here, not explaining anything. And it just starts to get really dumb with the logic.
Like, honestly, to me, it did not even feel like a Chucky movie because, like, you spend so much time with the people in the asylum.
Oh my god, that was my exact thought as I was like, okay. This has the least Chucky out of any of the Chucky films, and it features a Chucky who can duplicate himself. And yet still, it has the least Chucky. And I was like, dude, I don't care about any of these people. I don't care about any of them. I kind of care about the original guy. I want to see his story. He's gone. He is just, like, he's there in the beginning, and then he pops up at one point like, something at a mental institution. How could this be? Then he's gone for the rest of the film.
Like, didn't he like try to break in?
He then, yeah, up until the end of this film, we got like 20 minutes left in this movie, like 20, 25 minutes left. He then drives up to the mental institution. First, he mails a Chucky doll that he cut all the hair off to the warden at the mental institution. That comes back later. But he then drives up to the mental institution and goes, I need to speak to this doctor. And he goes, sorry, visiting hours are over. Come back tomorrow. He goes, okay, then I want to commit myself. And he's like, dude, just get out of here. Like, the cop is telling him to get out. And then he punches the cop, and then he's immediately locked in the mental institution. And I was like, that doesn't happen. I'm sorry, you don't get locked in a mental institution for punching a cop. You get sent to jail, and then you can go on trial, and then they can determine whether or not you should go to jail or to the mental institution, whether you can win an insanity plea. This doesn't work like this. Like, he punches the cop and is instantly put inside the mental institution. It's like, dude, I've been trying to overlook the flaws in logic in this film. This one's too much. But I was like, all right, at least he's in the mental institution now. We gotta see what happens. Again, gone for the rest of this film after that. He is gone after that point. But you see, the two Chuckies that are there then awaken the third Chucky, and the one that he sent with the haircut off, and they're talking to him, and just seeing the three Chuckies talk to each other, I was like, this is the best part of this film.
It is.
Yeah, like, Chucky eventually, like, yeah, I was freaked out by him as a kid, but eventually he basically just became kind of like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Where, like, I just cracked jokes. Except, as I mentioned when we were talking about Freddy versus Jason, my problem with Freddy was that he always got, like, sexually assaulty, and I was like, dude, no, like, no, I can't, like, look at you cracking jokes and be, like, enjoying any part of this when, like, you're also trying to, like, molest someone. Chucky doesn't do that. In fact, Chucky actually saves one of the girls from a rapist in here, and I was like, okay, you're instantly better than Freddy Krueger now, because you've got the Freddy Krueger sense of humor, except you're not doing the thing I hate with Freddy Krueger, and you actually attacked the guy who was doing the Freddy Krueger thing.
I love that he says, man, I don't know whether to kill this guy or take notes, and I thought that was great. I mean,
there's a moment where she was like, man, I'm messed up, but this guy... Yeah, and then there's a moment which the three Chuckies are just talking to each other. I was like, this is the best part of this movie. If you would just put more Chucky in this damn thing, it would kind of, I would overlook so many problems with it. Like I said, the best part of the early part of this film is when Chucky's talking to the schizophrenic lady. I was like, dude, this is what makes Chucky work. Seeing him just crack jokes like this. And then he's talking to, I think her name was Nina, or Neela, something like that.
Nina, yeah.
Yeah, the girl from the previous film.
Yeah.
And he then transfers his soul into her and takes control of her body. And all I could stop and think was, this is literally what you've been trying to do in all these films. This is the first time he actually successfully did it, which he actually successfully took over someone's body. And so she's now in there. She and one of the other Chuckies goes and murders the multiple personality guy. But then they send to kill the original kid, the doll with the chopped off hair that he sent there. And he goes in there, and the guy, he then starts beating the crap out of this Chucky doll, rips into his stomach, and pulls out a gun they had in there. I was like, that's pretty clever. Okay, you sent this doll there, but it does raise some questions. Like, when a Chucky doll becomes possessed, their insides actually become like human organs. I was like, wouldn't you be able to tell you had a gun inside your body? So he rips into him, pulls out the gun, shoots him, and then the girl from the previous film, now possessed by Chucky, comes in there, and she's like, you kill me, you kill her. Click, 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 click. I was like, I kind of, again, not that I'm like coming in here and being like, that's what a hero should do, because this guy is not a hero. This is just the guy whose life mission is to take out Chucky. I will always applaud whenever the villain is like, I've totally got you in a situation where you can't win. Yeah, no, fuck it, bam. I'm always kind of like, yeah, dude, it's Chucky. Just take out the monster. I'm always on the side of the guy who's just like, take out the monster. Especially when I can understand him. Like, a normal person, I can understand them being torn, but it plays into this guy's character that like, I've been tortured by this thing for 30 goddamn years. It's my job to kill him no matter what. Yeah, man, I'm gonna do it no matter what. It's like, that is consistent with your character. I will applaud good character writing there. but he's all out of bullets. So she then locks him in the room and he can't get out. And I was just like, this was really a huge flaw in your plan. You did not think this out. Like, his plan is so backward stupid when you think about it. It required so many things to go appropriately. Like, there were 3 Chuckies there. His was the one that had the gun in there. What would have happened if one of the other 2 got sent there to kill him?
Maybe that's why he chopped off his hair.
Well, that's why he chopped off his hair so he would be able to identify it's the one that I sent here. But they send him to kill him because they're like, oh, you got your hair chopped off? Oh, you had it worse than us today. You deserve this. You go kill the guy. No way could he have known that's how they would have made that decision. It was totally just random luck. Like, chopping off the hair so he could identify which one has the gun, that's smart. But yeah, what was your backup plan if that's not the one that came for you? What were you gonna do? Although, as we have seen, you can't always just curb stomp a Chucky. Which is another thing that I kind of dug about this one, is that it was like, it is a doll, you can just murder it. And because they have multiple Chuckies in this one, they're allowed to do that.
Here's the thing that like always bothered me is like, how was like the original Chucky, the one with that's just a mutilated head, able to transfer its soul into another Chucky?
I'm guessing that had to have been something from the previous film,
Probably.
From Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of like let it go, because I'm like, that had to have been something that they explained in the last film, and that's the one that I have no knowledge of.
It's like we watch it and there's no explanation.
I would not be shocked. But if there was one, I'd be kind of impressed if like they found a way to like merge all the Chucky films into one thing. Because you also do see like Bride of Chucky is still like in continuity, because Jennifer Tilly pops up in here, and like it's actually like there was a joke in the previous ones where Chucky's girlfriend looks like Jennifer Tilly, and man, it's been years since I've seen it, so I'm hoping I'm remembering this correctly, but there's a joke where his girlfriend looked like Jennifer Tilly, and they made comments on that. So the way that I read this was basically like, now that they know how to put their soul into other human bodies, they basically just possess Jennifer Tilly. In fact, they even opened up with going, anyone ever told you look like Jennifer Tilly? All the time. So yeah, so they merged the original ones, they merged the Bride of franchise, they put in the last one here. So in a way, I want to applaud them for like merging them all together, making like a one Chucky timeline, because Friday the 13th tried to reboot. They dropped the entire franchise before that. They tried to reboot. Nightmare on Elm Street dropped the entire franchise before that, tried to reboot. Hellraiser, there's no continuity there. They just go from one film to the next and it never ties in. I am kind of impressed that in this day and age, a franchise that's 30 years old is not rebooting. It is still like, nope, still here for all the people who've been following us. But man, there's so many problems with this film, so many characters you don't care about. There's so many plot holes, and it gets to that point in which like I was checking the time on this, I was like, there's 5 minutes left, and you have like 4 plot lines in here, and you haven't resolved any of them. I don't know what you're gonna do. And yeah, it just ends with like Lady Chucky now walking out of the asylum while original guy is trapped inside, and now her and Jennifer Tilly, possessed by the spirit of her, of Chucky's girlfriend, now drive off laughing. And I was like, this really just feels like a to be continued. And when this thing was probably straight to DVD, because I don't even remember seeing this come out in theaters. Like
the lesbians of Chucky.
Yeah.
Like.
Which, yeah, you pointed that out. I was like, they had him possess a girl just so they could have a lesbian makeout scene. Just for the fan base. But yeah, there's that moment in which they drive off, and I was like, for a film that, like, it came out this year and it's already on Netflix, I doubt it even came out in theaters, because I didn't even hear about it. You're really, like, holding on and hoping that that Chucky franchise is gonna let you get a sequel to this, because this sequel bait's like crazy. And also, like, the biggest problem with this is that Chucky's the most interesting character, the most fun character, and he's not in the movie for squat. He is here so little.
And we kind of mentioned that, like, him being able to possess multiple dolls and people, like, kind of makes him OP, so...
A little bit? Yeah, it's like, okay, well, then it gets to that point where it's like, well, how do you stop him?
Yeah.
Because now it's gotten to that point where it's like, you can't even hint that you destroyed him. Because all you gotta do is just go, I had backups made. We were waiting in a warehouse for when our main guy died. Then I'd spring in, I'd be the main guy. I die, main guy B comes in here. Now he's in. It's like, yeah, it kind of takes some of the tension out of the idea that Chucky can possibly be defeated. And if you have a villain that you can't possibly defeat, then what's the point? But also, like, Jennifer Tilly keeps saying, like, the cult is growing, and like they're referring to all the Chuckies they're creating as the cult of Chucky. I was like, that's a weird thing to call, like, just multiples of yourself. Like, I read Cult of Chucky and saw it was gonna be in a mental institution, and I was like, okay, it's maybe like people who like decided to worship Chucky, like, cause I mean, he's a voodoo guy, like that's his powers. Okay, a voodoo cult that's trying to like bring his soul back or something. Like, there's stuff you can do that. Cult of Chucky, the name means nothing in this at all. Especially considering that Chucky is barely in this goddamn thing. It honestly makes me wonder if he wasn't in this more, because the animatronics in here are still good. The animatronics have been good since the very first one. But it makes me wonder if like they were just like, yeah, but we don't have the budget for that many animatronics anymore. It's like, goddamn, because if you're about to tell me you're about to like try and launch new Chucky films, but each one is gonna have a smaller budget so we get to see less Chucky in every single one, dude, you lost me. There's no reason for this anymore. So yeah, I would give this maybe like a 5 out of 10 just because of the positives in the first half and the interesting ideas in here. And yeah, whenever Chucky's in here, he's pretty darn good. But yeah, man, there's just too many problems with this film. None of likable characters and plot holes all over the place. And also, yeah, it ends in a way that makes me go, that was it? That's what... Again, it really feels like you did not resolve anything. It just feels like a to be continued. That I don't think we're going to continue to. So yeah, like 5 out of 10. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, we were doing reviews and reactions all week long based on your request. So make sure that you tune in for the rest of those. This is the second one of these that we shot in a row, so my voice is destroyed. So I'm just gonna wrap up by saying, if you guys always want to follow us on Twitter, you can find me at Professor Thorgy, and you can always find shirts that we now have on sale at tpublic.com/user/Professor Thorgy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and as always, happy Halloween.